don't have a difference. We don't have a choice.
Thank you for the call, Tom. That's a very, very good point. Why would it be that way? Let's go to line 8. John is listening on WMAL. John, this is John DePietro, and you're up on the Savage Nation, John.
Good afternoon. The reason I called is I remember what happened in the last November election where we took control of the Senate, and we got Mitch McConnell as the majority leader, replacing Harry Reid. We thought things were going to change, and just recently, Eric Holder was replaced by Loretta Lynch, and they needed 51 votes, just a simple majority in the Senate to confirm her, and there were 57 votes to 43. And I understand 10 Republicans voted in that 57, would have only been 47, so she wouldn't have gotten approved. And that Mitch McConnell was one of the 10. So how do we win when we got the Mitch McConnells and the John Boehners that even though they sound like they're going to do a good job, or they should reflect the last election, but things have gotten worse. The president, you wouldn't know that Republicans took control of both houses. We figured things were going to be different. And so this blackmail stuff, well, I've always thought Boehner was a drunkard anyway, but that shouldn't stop him. I think that's common knowledge. I don't know what they got on Mitch McConnell, but is there...
Do you think that's what it is, John, that they have blackmail on the Republicans and that's why they're going along?
It's something. They're not doing what their party wants them to do. Rhino's too good a word for these people.
There's no question that they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. 1-855-400-7282. Now, coming up, we will talk about more controversy with the Boy Scouts, also more news with ISIS in the news, and a lot more. Remember, log on to our website, michaelsavage.com. This is John DePietro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage, and this is the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Hey, our Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust for wealth insurance, gold and silver.
1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. You're listening to the Savage Nation. This is John DePietro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. You're welcome to join the program. As always, log on to our website, michaelsavage.com. Check out the doctor's new book, Countdown to Mecca. You can order it from the website, or it's available in stores right now. Let's go out to your phone calls. Mary on line 4 is listening on WABC in New York. Mary, you're on the Savage Nation. Hello.
Hi. I think that everybody is wrong about the Elizabeth Warren thing. We know that Obama would like to see her as the next president. So I could see him going to her and saying, hey, Elizabeth, listen, I've got everybody dummied up, and you know how good I am at that. So everybody's dummied up, and so you go out there, Elizabeth, and you be the savior. You be the one that says, I want transparency. He said, and then he would say, because that worked for me when I was campaigning and I became president. So then on talk radio, they'll all be talking about you as the savior, the surprising person that comes forward, and while everybody else is dummied up.
But Mary, why? Thank you for the call, Mary. But then, folks, the question: then why would the Republicans go along with it? Well, let's go to line 9. Ryan is listening on WJR in Detroit. Ryan, we'll get back to you. You're listening to the Savage Nation. As always, go to our website, michaelsavage.com. You can see all these stories and more, plus the doctor's new book, Countdown to Mecca, available now. John DePietro sitting in for Dr. Michael Savage. This is the Savage Nation.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture, And here he is, Michael Savage.
And 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282. This is John DePietro sitting in for the one and only Dr. Michael Savage on the Savage Nation. Love you to be part of the program today. Remember, log on to our website, michaelsavage.com. The new thriller, Countdown to Mecca, by Michael Savage. Now, you can order it now, or it is available in stores. And also at the website, you can also see various news stories that you can read, and all the different links, such as the New York Times list omits Michael Savage, new bestseller. Hillary got now classified Benghazi info on private email. How about more don't believe Obama and instead see ISIS as winning? There's also a story I just saw just a few moments ago that ISIS is now claiming they may have the capability to obtain a nuclear weapon within the next year. Again, log on to the website. It's michaelsavage.com. You can also see the story that everyone is disgusted on with Orrin Hatch and Mitch McConnell, how they sell out to the president, have sold out the people and sold out the Republican Party. We'll take your phone calls. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. There's also the story, conservatives slam Boy Scouts leaders' comments on gay adults. Conservative religious organizations, Washington Times reports, or Newsmax, I should say, blasted Boy Scouts of America President Robert Gates for calling an end to the group's ban on gay adults, with an official of the Southern Baptist Convention telling Newsmax it was an incremental step towards full Scout participation by homosexuals. We are disappointed but not surprised, said Richard Oldham. Meanwhile, Gates, his argument, said we must deal with the world as it is, not as we may wish it to be. This type of status quo and a ban on gay adults amongst the little Boy Scouts cannot be sustained. People are very upset about Gates' comments. We'll take your calls on that as well. First-time callers, welcome. 1-855-400-SAVAGE or 1-855-400-7282. I mentioned Orrin Hatch, Mitch McConnell going along with the president. Lack of transparency, secrecy on the Obama trade plan. Let's go out to your phone calls. George is on line 3, listening on WABC in New York. George, you're up first this hour on the Savage Nation. Hello, George.
Hello, John. How are you?
Very well, George. Go right ahead.
Let me start off by borrowing a line from a famous lady running for president. What difference does it make?
That's right.
What difference does it make? Because in 10 years from now, you're not going to be on a radio station doing a show. You and I are going to be taking our slippers off, bending over, saying prayers at the mosque. Okay? And, that might be very cynical, but I think we got to start being cynical and taking these people, making them stuck to account. This is crazy. This is crazy. You can't trust the president. You can't trust this government. You can't trust them on this, and you can't trust them on ISIS. And maybe it's less than 10 years since ISIS might have a nuclear bomb in the air. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call, George. Now, this business on, how many people listening voted for Republican? How many people, when you voted to send a Republican to Congress, did you send them there with the intention of that you would hope they would work with this president? Did you send them to Washington saying, boy, I'm really going to admire them if they show bipartisanship? The reason I'm sending them there is because I want them to go along with the Democrats. Let's hear clip 1. This is Mitch McConnell trying to explain why they have caved and now go along with President Obama.
This bill represents an opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to stand together for the middle class. So I hope our friends across the aisle will allow us to seize this opportunity, and I'm optimistic. We all know that trade is important for American workers and American jobs. And we all know that by passing this legislation, we can show we're serious about advancing new opportunities for bigger American paychecks, better American jobs, and a stronger American economy.
What is so frightening is who listening right now is saying, I want them to work together. I think it's the opposite. Didn't you send, wherever you're listening right now, did you send a Republican to Washington saying, I want you there to work with this president? No matter what state, I want you there to work with the Democrats on their agenda. I think it's the opposite. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. I want to play for you clip 2. This is Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. She is the one complaining. Lack of transparency. She is actually the one that is opposing the president, while Orrin Hatch and Mitch McConnell are going along and have caved to President Obama. Let's hear. This is Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Even members of Congress are prohibited from talking about the details in public, and yet, in the next day or two, the Senate is scheduled to vote on whether to grease the skids to make that secret trade deal, the TPP, the law of the land. This isn't how democracy is supposed to work. One of our fundamental principles of representative government is transparency. Our government is supposed to keep things secret from the people only if it has a really, really good reason to do so.
We are in dire straits when Elizabeth Warren is the one standing up to the president and the Republicans are caving to President Obama. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. 1-855-400-7282. And what about the Boy Scouts? Do you go along with their president, Boy Scouts of America President Robert Gates, calling for an end to the group's ban on gay adults, saying that we have to deal with the way the world is now? And that's just the way it is, and from now on, we're just going to have to go along with it. Let's go to line 3. Lindsay is listening on WABC in New York. Lindsay, this is John DePietro, and you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Lindsay.
Yes, well, actually, my name is Wendy.
Okay, go right ahead, Wendy.
And my comment is, I think I could understand the way parents feel, because I don't think that parents of Girl Scouts, little girls, would like to have men be leaders of their little girls. So anytime I've ever had this conversation with parents who have girls, and I bring this point up, they kind of really have nothing to say, and they're a little flustered. And that's my comment.
Thank you for the call, Wendy. Let's go to Ryan on line 9. He's listening on WJR in Detroit. Ryan, you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, John, this is Ryan. I'm calling about this bill.
Yes.
How many riders are on this bill, since they're not letting anybody see it?
Right.
What are the riders on this bill? That's what's got me worried more than the bill itself.
That's a good question. Ryan, do you trust the Republican leadership now and President Obama with the secrecy of this? And how about the comment, Ryan, that if the American people see it, then they won't want to support it or pass it, so we better not show it to them?
Yeah, well, I don't like any of that. I don't like the Republicans. I don't like the president. I don't like the way Washington is right now. It needs to be changed.
Do you respect or think more highly of Republicans that go to Washington to work with President Obama?
No, they're liars.
Well, thank you for the call, Ryan. I mean, I don't know about you. For me, it's the opposite. The reason, right? Isn't that the reason you would elect a Republican, is to reach across the aisle, as Mitch McConnell says, and demonstrate anything? I think it's to put up some element of resistance against the president's agenda, not to go along with it. Let's go to line 8. Joseph is listening on WBAP in Dallas. Joseph, you're up on the Savage Nation. Hello, Joseph.
Hey, John. How you doing?
Very well, Joseph. Go right ahead.
And you've got so many topics on there today, but the one I want to address is this trade treaty.
Yes, sir.
Hey, the bottom line is, and nobody seems to be touching on this, but this is treason. Outright treason. And these guys should be dealt with as such. And this also shows how corrupt our government has become. Because obviously, these guys who are voting yes for this the Republicans.